Welcome back to the Car Groves channel, and today we're gonna do part 2 on how to revive a battery with Epsom salt. Other stuff, I got that one here. I've got a completely dead battery that I think is out of that BMW originally. So we're gonna try to jump start this dude, which it won't even charge. If you put it on here, it says bad battery. So I've got it on a trickle. We're gonna see if we can bring it up at all so we can use the tester. All right, so this is the, let's see if I can spin it so you guys can see it. This is the Everstart 24F. Same as the control battery for our test here. It's a control battery, and then it's also, I'm gonna throw that in the Lexus today because I don't want to, oh man, it's hard to see. I don't want to wait the 4 or 5 days it's gonna take me to shoot all this video. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, that one says it's 700. Okay. Okay, so we've got 12.4 volts, and then we've got 240 cranking amps. So basically, the battery for the Mustang and for the Lexus have, hold on, off. I just want to take this stuff off before I'm not sure if you're supposed to leave it on. Let me give this a quick look. Trickle. Okay. So the battery for the Lexus and the Mustang both started acting up probably in the last month, where you would go to start it and it would crank, but it was cranking too slow and it wouldn't start. I'd put them on a jump pack, or I would use one of our shop batteries and jump start the cars, and they would start fine. And then I let them run for like 30 minutes or so to get a good charge on them, and turn them off, come back in a couple hours, they would start. A day later, I'd go to start it, wouldn't start. So it was like they would charge up and get enough cold cranking amps to just barely start, and then over the course of a day, it would drop down. And as you can see, they're both down in the 200s, which is too low of cranking amps to really start a car. You probably really need, they're both V8s, so I would say you probably need 350 to 400, somewhere around there, minimum, to crank one. So yeah, we're gonna use these two in our test, as well as I've got a dead battery in one of my four-wheelers. I think it's the one right there with the teal box on it. We're gonna pull that battery as well. I had it hooked up to my, and I don't like it by the way, but this Schumacher battery charger. And the problem with it is, if the batteries are in too bad of a condition, it'll just throw an error code and it'll never come on. Whereas the old school battery charger that I had in my last video, it would throw some amps at whatever, it didn't matter. Which I think actually helps revive some of these batteries back. So anyways, several of these batteries won't even do a charge. This Super Start right here that I've got on the trickle, I'm trying to get something in it. It won't even turn the digital analyzer on. I'm trying to get a little bit in this one. We'll try to get a little bit of charge in the four-wheel battery just so we can pull them up and read what they have. And then we'll go from there. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pop these caps on these batteries. All right. And then what you're gonna see, there's 6 ports right there that hold the acid, and these are the individual cells of the battery. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna dump them in this bucket. All right, so we've got the acid drained out of this battery. I'm gonna take this rag and just wipe it down. So that one is ready. I also have this pack of baking soda in case I spill any acid on myself. We'll have that ready. The baking soda will neutralize the acid fairly quickly, within a couple seconds, so it's not really a big worry there. All right. Let's get on to the next one here. This one. Okay, when you go to dump the acid out, you obviously have to flip the battery over. Some of them are gonna have straps. I've already loosened up that side. You wanna take the strap off, that way the acid's not splashing on anything weird. As you'll see, there's a little tab right there. And what you're gonna try to do is slip your flathead screwdriver under that tab and get it flattened out. And then you should be able to get the strap off, just like that. All right, let's pop these caps. And I know why these are going bad. These cars of mine, I have extra cars, and they sit for a while, which promotes the sulfating of the lead plates inside. All right, next thing we're gonna do is flush these dudes out. All right, so this is our oldest, junkiest battery, which I'm gonna go ahead and assume has the most sulfated plates. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this center section out. That way when we put it to the charge and we pour in our mixture of Epsom salt and water, hopefully you guys might be able to see some kind of reaction happening. So let's cut this dude open. All right, there's the inside of our battery right there. Okay, we got our old trusty pasta pot back on the stove, and we're gonna use distilled water. Now, when you're flushing the batteries, you can use just regular hose water because you're just flushing them. It doesn't matter. Just like a radiator, anything that takes water in your vehicle, you need to use distilled water because all the contaminants, all the fine metal, anything like that, which is fine in your drinking water, will cause problems in your vehicles, in the radiator, in your battery. So make sure you use distilled water for this process. All right, so our water is pretty hot. It's not quite boiling, but it should be enough to dissolve salt. So we're just gonna pour this in. And then stir it up. We're gonna leave the heat on it for a little bit, just kind of let it get really dissolved. You don't want any like Epsom salt in the bottom. And then the Epsom salt we used, doesn't matter the brand, just make sure it's like fragrance free. I don't know, you don't want to put like aromatherapy Epsom salt in your batteries. All right, we're gonna start with our cut battery first and just add the Epsom salt water in. All right, we got a little too much Epsom salt on these, so I'm gonna suck some of this out. Let's wipe it off. Again, this is just Epsom salt water. Nothing to really be worried about here. All right. Now this thing wouldn't take a charge on the regular charger, so I'm gonna put it on this trickle and see if we can get the voltage to come up on it. And maybe we'll even be able to see some action taking place here. All right, so it's showing that the battery's at 35%. So let's read the cold cranking amps. See what we got here. So we're at 56 cold cranking amps, so pretty low. But we're gonna keep testing this throughout the charge process and see if the cold cranking amps are going up. Okay, it's been probably about another hour, and the percentage has gone up to about 50%, and it's showing 75 cold cranking amps. So the cold cranking amps are coming up. This battery is probably the worst condition battery I've ever tried to do this on. So we're going to keep playing with it and see how high we can get the cold cranking amps. Alright, so just an update. It's showing 77% capacity, and this thing is still going crazy. So my thought right now is, even when it gets up to 100% capacity, it might not be, the plates might not be clean enough to get the cold cranking amps we need. So what we might do is dump this out. Sorry, what we might do is drain the battery with some kind of load, like a light bulb, then try to charge it some more and see if it's the charging combined with the Epsom salts that creates the reaction, which I suspect that's what's going on. Okay, we're at, it's saying we're at about 70% charge. 107 cold cranking amps. So it's going up. So let's see how many cold cranking amps we can get on this really bad battery, and we'll just keep going from there. Okay, so before I hit the hay for the night, I just quick clipped on a test light. I'm gonna try to drain this battery back down so that we can try to charge it back up tomorrow and get some more cold cranking amps out of it. Okay, so it's the next morning. I just pulled the test light off the battery. It ran it down from like 80 to about 30 something percent, which is good. Which is what we wanted. So now I've got it back on the charger, and it's still cleaning the plate, so you can see it. So we're gonna let this charge up, and then we'll test the cold cranking amps and see if they keep increasing. Okay, so the battery, the charger was showing 100%. So I just put it on the meter, and it's showing 226 cold cranking amps and 100% charge. So it's showing 13.2 volts. So what we're going to try to do now is run this battery down again and recharge it back up, because I think the charging process combined with the Epsom salts, it's what's actually cleaned the plates. But we are seeing an improvement. I mean, this battery was completely dead. It was only showing a little over 100 cold cranking amps last night, and now second charge it's showing 220. So we're getting an improvement. Let's see if we can run it down and improve this even more. So there's probably better ways to run a battery down, but just for the time being, I know this is an easy way. I just have my test light clipped onto the terminals to drain this thing down. So let's let it drain down. Really what you'd want is a larger light bulb or something like that, draws, or a little fan that'll draw more juice faster, but we're gonna go with this for now. Okay, since we've got the cut open battery, draining down. I put the Mustang battery on this charger, so we're gonna let it get some charge time. This charger seems to be doing the best as far as making the batteries react. It's really hard to see, which is why we cut this one open. But for some reason, this charger, which I can't stand, seems to be doing the better job. So a couple of people have suggested that to aid in recovering the batteries, you should shake them up and pour them out, which I was a little leery about doing when they had acid in them. But since this has got a solution of Epsom salt, I don't see why not. So this is the extra of our Epsom salt water. As you can see, the pan's super clear. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna unhook this and we're going to dump it out and let's see what's in there. So I'm gonna pour out about, there we go. I'm gonna pour out about half of it and then shake it up. All right, so here's the water now. I mean, it's definitely dirtier for sure than it was. I don't see a whole, I can't really, I'm not really seeing any particles. Let's get a flashlight. I'm not really seeing anything in the bottom, but the water is definitely dirtier. All right, let's see where we're at tonight. I'm gonna put the test light on tonight and drain it back down. Yeah, 272 cold cranking amps, so it's going up. So my theory now, again, is keep draining it down and charging up, because it's the charging that's creating the reaction that's cleaning the plates. So let me show you what I mean by that. We've been discharging and charging this battery now for like 2 or 3 days. So watch this. Okay, put it on. And as soon as it kicks on, you'll see it start reacting again. So as you can tell, I mean, it's still cleaning. All right, so we're gonna take it off. We're gonna take it off for the night. Put the test light on it, drain it back down. Okay, so we've got this one right here. We've drained it, charged it about 4 or 5 times. At this point, it's been sitting here for 2 days. I've got these other batteries just sitting. I think these two have been off the chargers for 4 or 5 days now. This one's been on a trickle, like a little cheap 2 amp trickle. Anyways, let's take a look and let's see what we're at. I think, you know, you gotta remember, when we started with this one, this battery was junk. And this has been the main one we're playing with because it was the neatest one to watch with the cover taken off. Oh, wrong way. All right, 12.65 volts and 392 cold cranking amps. I think at one point I got it up to 420, and that was like 2 or 3 days ago before I pulled it off the charger. So yeah, not bad. I mean, this is a small battery. This thing is made to start a little bitty car. It's only 500 cold cranking amps, and we've brought it back up to 400, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure that'll start an old car. We'll try it and see. Let's take a look at this one. I should have spent more time on this Mustang battery, but I just was having so much fun playing with this other one. This one is 590. So 600. $181. So I would say that battery's not any good. All right, here's the EverStart battery. Let's see here. Okay, this one is 750, so 7. I don't know how I move it over. 50. Oh, shoot. All right, 7. $50. 12 volts. 626 amps. So out of these 3 batteries, I'd say this one and this one are probably okay to use now. This one right here, I don't know what's going on with it. It just will not come back. Now, I haven't drained it down and charged it back up like the other ones. So maybe that's what's going on. I did have it on a float charger for the last 4 or 5 days. Okay, so I think the moral of this video is that from observing the battery that had the top cut off, the reaction between the Epsom salt and the plates happens the most violently, you know, in a good way, when it's under charge. That being said, when I would come out there and check on the batteries and I was in presence of them, I would put on 30 amp for like a minute, and the amount of bubbles and stuff that would come up from the top was significant. And then before I left, I'd put it back on the 2 amp trickle. I think it's a 2 to 6 cents variable trickle. And then we charged it down, we brought it back up. Every time on that small battery that had the lid cut off, every time that we ran it down and charged it up, I saw an increase in cold cranking amps. So what I think you should do is, if you have an old battery, is fill it with Epsom salt solution, charge it up and run it down a couple of times, and that will get you your maximum voltage. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. We got more stuff coming. Make sure you throw me a comment, like, subscribe. I enjoy making these videos for you guys, but right now I've got some mountain biking to do. See you next week.